So this is my gazillionth time trying to record this video. 2009 was a tough year for me. I came from 2008 with high expectations. You know, I was feeling pretty good, but then my health plateaued and then started to go downhill. And that was really discouraging to me. And I also dealt with, being pushed from one doctor to the next, to the next, to the next, and no doctor really taking the time to listen to me and to try and understand what it was I was going through. So 2009 was just a very discouraging year, and trying to make a video and explain to you everything that happened makes me go back and remember everything, and I think that's why I've been having such difficulty recording this video. So, since I have been working so hard today trying to get all the information out, I'm just going to make it a lot more simple. At the beginning of 2009, I randomly started developing heart palpitations where my heart would beat really, really fast and really, really hard at random times. It's not like I was up exercising. It was just like laying in bed and all of a sudden I couldn't help but feel my heart just pounding in my chest, and it made it hard to breathe, and it was really scary. So I went and saw my general practitioner, who referred me to a cardiologist. The cardiologist ran tests like the treadmill and did an ultrasound of my heart, hooked me up to a heart monitor for 24 hours to see how my heart worked for a whole day. And of course, every test that came back was normal, which is a good thing. I didn't want anything wrong with my heart to begin with. But at the same time, it was like, well, what can you do about my heart? And there was nothing that the doctor could do. So I dealt with it. And then later on, in 2009, since I was no longer getting better from the medication, I went back to my neurologist for like a checkup, and I told him that. And he was like, well, it's up to you whether or not you want to stay on this medicine or go off of it. And I was like, well, I don't want to be on medicine that's not doing anything for me. So I decided to go off of it, and there was no increase in health or decrease. I just pretty much stayed the same. So I stayed off of the medication. On Easter, I ended up in the emergency room with a gastritis attack, which is basically just a really, really bad stomach ache. It lasted all day, and I was doubled over in pain, and I was breathing weird from it. So we went to the ER, and they ran tests. Again, nothing abnormal. They gave me this really nasty concoction. It was like drinking toothpaste. It was really gross. But it numbed my esophagus. It numbed my stomach. It took the pain away. I spent all night in the hospital. Came home, and I was fine. So, 2009 kind of started off rocky. And as the year went on, I just continued to get more and more discouraged, because no doctor could help me, and no doctor really seemed to care to help me. And the one thing that they all of them, every single one of them told me, well, if it gets worse, come back and see me. And it's like, well, if it gets worse, what are you going to do different than what you're doing now? Why can't you help me now? Why do I have to wait to get worse? It's very frustrating. So I was at the end of my road. I felt like just giving up. But thankfully, I had people in my life that continued to push me and encourage me to find a doctor out there that would take me seriously. And my mom was talking to a friend of hers who basically said, you know what, you've been so focused on these doctors over here that maybe you should go in the complete opposite direction and find a doctor that is not your common doctor. And he was basically talking about natural medicine. And I know there are a ton of people out there, and maybe even you personally, who turn their noses up at natural medicine. And that's fine, that's your opinion. But my opinion is that I was desperate. At that point in time, I was willing to try anything. And I am so thankful that I did. I'm so thankful that I didn't listen to all the, criticism out there about natural medicine, because I finally found a group of doctors that cared enough about me to not let me go, and that cared enough to really get into, all of my symptoms and my medical history and all of my tests, and to really work with me to try and get me better. So it was definitely a breath of fresh air. It took very long to get there, but it was nice once I did get there. What's cool about this place, it's called Southwest College of Natural Medicine, SCNM. it's cool because it's a school, it's a college, and so you have the option to either have a private session with a doctor where it's just you and a doctor, or you can have a group of students take over your case and you basically interact with them instead of a doctor. You know, they're the ones that you talk to one-on-one, and they basically just lead the entire thing. Then they go back to the doctor, the head doctor, and report back to him or her. And the doctor is the one that makes all the decisions. I started out with the naturopath medicine and the naturopath doctors, and they ran a bunch of tests. You know, they tested me for H. pylori and celiac disease and other genetic disorders and whatnot. Again, everything came back normal. Then with the natural medicine, I started taking some of the natural medicine, and the kind that I was taking were tinctures, and I was supposed to take it before each meal. And it helped quite a bit with all of my stomach issues. The only problem was it made my dizziness worse. So my doctor at the time felt that I would be better helped if I moved from natural medicine to a different type of medicine under a different doctor. And that's the current doctor that I'm with even to this day, and this was, you know, over a year and a half ago. Her name is Dr. Ham. She's amazing. I love her. But with her, I was with a student doctor whose name is Alana, and she's absolutely amazing as well. Her and I had developed a really great doctor-patient relationship, and I stuck with her through the last year of her schooling, which was really cool. And it's making me emotional because it was emotional for me at the time. But that didn't happen until 2010. But anyway, back to 2009. I finally found a group of doctors that wanted me better, and they were going to do anything that they could to get me better, and they didn't let me go. You know, even when medications failed, we tried something else, and when that didn't work, we tried something else, and when that didn't work, we tried something else. And they continued to test me throughout the years. I felt like I was always giving them blood to test for different things, and everything came back normal. Everything. And it began to get very, very frustrating. But I didn't give up. Since I had finally found this group of doctors, you know, that were gonna continue with my case, I couldn't let them go. So I continued with them. So although I found this really great group of doctors, I still was not improving anything that we tried. I was not getting any better. All of us were stumped. We had no idea why I continued to get worse. And more symptoms kept popping up. You know, it wasn't just my stomach anymore. It was my dizziness and my heart palpitations, and I was really, really weak. Started having random aches and pains. I got really sensitive to heat, to the sun. I was constantly tired. Like, I would wake up in the morning after 8 hours of sleep, and within 2 hours, I would be ready to go back to bed. I dealt with shortness of breath. Ears started giving me problems, you know, a constant ringing or buzzing noise. I always had ear pain. I began to get really lightheaded quite often, and my concentration declined. It was a lot harder for me to pay attention to things, to read, and to understand what I had just read. So my symptoms, just all of these symptoms, one by one, started dropping in on me. So 2009 was definitely a hard year for me. It was discouraging, but I did finally find that group of doctors, like I had said, and that continued on into 2010, which is what tomorrow's video is going to be about. Hopefully it'll be easier to record than today. So thanks for sticking through this video. I appreciate it, guys, and thanks for watching.